Love. We write sonnets about it, surrender to it, and sometimes break under its weight. It comforts us and confuses us. It heals and it hurts. It feels like the most natural thing, and yet remains one of the greatest mysteries. Is love a biological instinct, a philosophical calling, a delusion of the ego, or the awakening of the soul? What is love really? And why does it have such power over our minds, our choices, and our sense of meaning? Today on Thinxile, we step beyond hormones and heartbeats into the world of philosophy, where love is not just felt, but deeply questioned. A question without one answer. The question of love has haunted humanity for millennia. Plato called it a divine madness. Sartre warned that love is a war of freedoms. Simone de Beauvoir said love is the tension between unity and individuality. Philosophy never settled on a single definition, because love is not one thing. It is desire and devotion, obsession and compassion, longing and release. It's a force that both binds and tests the human soul. We use one word for it, but we mean many things: affection, romance, lust, loyalty, admiration, even spiritual reverence. So instead of chasing a singular answer, let us examine the many faces of love. Let's begin where most love stories begin: Eros. This is the passionate, fiery love of longing, the kind that pulls you in without reason. It is raw, immediate, consuming. Plato, in his dialogue Symposium, describes Eros not just as sexual attraction, but as a yearning for beauty itself. Eros for Plato starts with the body, but if nurtured through reason, can ascend toward truth and higher ideals. But Nietzsche warned us, passion can blind us. It can make us lose ourselves in another, seeking salvation through someone else's gaze. Desire is powerful, but is it love, or is it the illusion of fulfillment? When we confuse possession with presence, we turn Eros into a mirror of our own emptiness. Philia. Love as friendship and understanding. Not all love is fire. Philia is the quieter love, the deep connection of friendship, loyalty, and mutual respect. Aristotle called this the highest form of love, a love built not on utility or pleasure, but on virtue. In Nicomachean Ethics, he wrote, "True friends are those who wish good for each other for the sake of the other." Philia is where the ego softens, where love becomes less about what we want and more about what we give. It's a love that endures, not because it is dramatic, but because it is steady. In a world obsessed with intensity, we often forget the love that stays may not shout, but it holds. Agape. Love is selfless giving. Then there is agape, perhaps the most misunderstood of. Agape is love without condition, selfless, divine. In Christian philosophy, it is the love of God for humanity, a grace that expects nothing in return. But existentialists like Simone Weil saw agape not as divine love, but as the purest attention, a total presence with the suffering and beauty of others. Agape is rare because it demands we love even when it costs us, even when we are not seen or thanked or wanted. It is not sentimental. It is fierce because it chooses compassion over control. Agape asks, can you love even when there is nothing to gain? Here's the philosophical challenge. Do we fall in love with the person or with our idea of them? Jean-Paul Sartre believed that love is often an attempt to make the other person define us, to validate our existence. We fall in love with how they make us feel about ourselves. Alain de Botton adds that we fall in love with the familiar, not with the person, but with their emotional resemblance to our early caretakers. So, is love real? Or is it a story we create, a projection of our hopes, wounds, and desires onto someone else? Perhaps it's both. Perhaps love begins as illusion, but deepens when we start seeing the other as they are, not as we wish them to be. Can we truly love without losing ourselves? Love often asks for closeness, but closeness can threaten freedom. Sartre warned that love easily becomes a battle of control, a subtle desire to possess the other's desire. We want to be loved, but we also want to be free. Can we be both? Simone de Beauvoir believed love becomes mature when it affirms the other's sovereignty. Not, I need you to complete me, but I want you to be fully yourself, even if it means I am not the center. The paradox of love is this. We want union, but love can only thrive between two free, distinct individuals. Love is not fusion. Love is recognition. The risk, why love makes us vulnerable. To love is to risk. To open your heart is to accept the possibility of heartbreak, rejection, abandonment. Philosophy does not deny this. It insists on it. Kierkegaard said love is a leap, not of logic, but of faith. We are vulnerable not because we are weak, but because we are willing to care without guarantee. This vulnerability is not something to overcome. It is love's very essence, and it is the proof that we are alive. Why does love change over time? Why does the fire fade and something quieter take its place? Buddhist philosophy teaches that everything is impermanent, love included. What we often call falling out of love is not failure, but evolution. The thrill of novelty gives way to the depth of understanding. Infatuation dissolves into commitment or collapses under the weight of unmet expectations. The question is not whether love fades, but whether it transforms. Love endures when we let it grow, when we stop chasing the old feeling and start creating a new kind of presence. What does philosophy say about heartbreak? That it's natural, that it is necessary, that it is, in its own way, sacred. In Stoic thought, suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our attachments to how we wanted things to be. To grieve is to honor what was lost, but also to question our assumptions. Was love possession? Was it control? Was it fantasy? Or was it a teacher leading us back to ourselves? The pain of love does not mean it was false. It means it mattered. Despite the risks, the illusions, the pain, we return to love. Again, and again, and again. Why? Because love is not a luxury. It is not optional. It is existence itself reaching toward meaning. Love is how we wake up in a world of routine. It's how we feel seen and how we see the sacred in others. Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Love consists in this, that two solitudes protect and touch and greet each other." Perhaps that is all love ever was, and all it needs to be. Love is not just a feeling. It is a choice, a question, a philosophy. It asks us, can you see another, not as a solution, but as a soul? Can you hold their pain as well as their beauty? Can you risk breaking to touch what is real? Love may not always make us happy, but it makes us human. And that, perhaps, is its greatest gift. This is Thinxile. And this was the philosophy of love.